email sequences, and share those stories. And the newsletters are great, but there's so many calls to action. Sometimes people end up doing nothing. Where if you get in the habit and you start training your audience to say each email I send is a really powerful, moving email with one clear action that you know what it is you want them to do, well, then when you start making your actual ask emails, they're going to be that much more powerful and effective.
Great. And one last question before we move on here. Our charity also has a store. Can we use ad grants to direct traffic to the sales area of our site? Is that allowed?
Great question. And we love nonprofits that are building, program revenue or doing more than just asking donations as well. It can be a very powerful part of building a sustainable model. And so, in short, it really depends. You can make sure your store URL is the same as kind of your overall website URL. And so assuming it is, then yes, you can. There are some rules. So it's one thing, if you're trying to build up target donations, there's things where you might not be able to do that directly. There's some rules about the ad grant that we didn't necessarily go into in-depth on this webinar about. But with the store overall, if those proceeds are benefiting your cause, and 100% of those proceeds go to your cause, yes, you can use ad grants to drive sales that will support your mission.
Great, thank you. I think we're ready to move on now.
Okay, great. I'm going to pass it back to Chandler, and he's going to dive into Google Ad Grants Pro.
All right, everyone. So if you're with us so far, you're probably really excited about getting started with this Google Ad Grant. You have nothing to lose. The $10,000 a month grant, we've shown you some step-by-step ways where you can actually turn these website visitors into online donors and fundraisers. Well, I'm excited to say that it actually can get better, and we can turn up the notch for more impact and more donations. So if you utilize this Google Ad Grant correctly over a 6-month basis, you can get qualified to receive $40,000 a month advertising on Google. Right, so that's quadrupling the ad spend that you are allowed to receive beforehand. So to qualify, there's a couple different things you need to do for the 6-month basis. Number one, you need to have someone on your team or yourself that is managing bi-weekly the AdWords. This means adding new keywords, changing different ad groups, just going in and optimizing your AdWords platform. Secondly, you need to spend $9,900 2 out of the 6 months. So Cameron and I have been talking about we really need to max out the ad grant, right? So that means spending the full $10,000. And that will allow you 6 months down the line to get this Google Ad Grant Pro. And with the Google Ad Grant Pro level, this $40,000 is awesome, but what does that mean in terms of clicks to your website? We've seen and helped organizations to receive 25,000 to 30,000 clicks per month with the Google Ad Grant Pro level, right? And so again, to qualify, you need to have a click-through rate of over 1%. So for those that haven't been exposed to a lot of what Google Ads and these online marketing nerdy terms here, a click-through rate means how many times our ads show up on Google and they actually get clicked. So, for example, imagine your ad showing up 100 times on Google. They need to be clicked at least overall 1 time out of that 100 for an overall 1% click-through ratio. Right? So that's not super difficult. It's actually pretty standard, but the goal is that Google wants to make sure their ads are high quality. Next is quality conversion tracking. So as we shared with you beforehand, we recommend creating thank you pages, and that's where you would put your conversion code, right? So someone came onto your website, you had them download a guide, or maybe they put in their email somewhere, and then you want to drive them to a thank you page, we can put in your conversion code. Google expects people that are operating at this $40,000 level to operate like a business. They want to see that you know where your traffic is going and you actually have conversions. Next, you actually need to reapply and submit an application. So we're going to be sharing with you how to get approved and how to apply for the Google Ad Grant regular level. To apply at this higher level, you have to actually write a series of a couple essays, and you have to reapply. And so it's not guaranteed that you will get it because this is a limited program. It says it's $40,000 a month. We're talking about $500,000 a year in free advertising on Google, right? That can change everything for your organization. So they're really picky about who they choose. And lastly, you need to participate in an annual survey. So once a year, they will send out a survey, usually in the first quarter, and you need to share with them some of your impact measurements, what you've done, and what you're doing with the Google Ad Grant Pro level. And so just a reminder, right, these are all the different steps that you need to do to receive and get qualified to get the $40,000 a month in advertising, which is about 25 to 30,000 clicks per month to your organization's website.
Great, thank you. Okay, we're going to open it up to questions now, but before, because I know some people may jump off a little bit early, I did just want to call out that we will be sharing both Cameron and Chandler's contact information with you all after the webinar, and tomorrow we will be sending out a webinar recap that has the webinar recording, the slides, and also that step-by-step video that the Community Boost team has put together for you guys that will walk you through how to apply for a Google Ad Grant. So I just wanted to call that out before we open it up to Q&A here. I think we've got about 5 or so minutes left. So the first question that we haven't gotten to yet that we have for you guys is, are you eligible to use the Google Ad Grant program if you are a project under a 501c3 fiscal sponsorship?
Great question. So Google actually has a specific little part on their website that talks about this fiscal sponsorships. So we've seen organizations get approved, but you actually need to write a rebuttal, almost like an essay, and it will give you those what you need to write in that essay to actually get approved forward with that fiscal sponsorship. So we've seen it done before. It's not totally normal to get approved if you're a project under that fiscal sponsorship, but it's definitely possible. And you can reach out to us specifically if you have any questions, and we can help you and support you on that journey to get approved. It's not absolutely normal to get it done, but it's definitely possible.
Thanks, Chandler. The next question that we have is advice for anyone who is having trouble spending the $10,000 spend per month.
Great. Well, first, you're not alone. You know, Google actually reports that on average, nonprofits only spend $300 of the $10,000 per month, and so when it comes to maxing out that spend, we hit on it a little bit in our top tip about using long tail keywords, but it really just comes down to building out more of your keyword research and using more specific ad groups. And you got to just dive in deep on the campaign build side. However, once you start to gain momentum, you can continually optimize and really start to max out on a daily basis, you know, sending 150 to 200 people every month. Any more advanced tips you want to add to that?
Absolutely. As Cameron mentioned, it's really about expanding your keywords. So as an organization, you're just getting started with the grant and you're excited about what's possible, but you feel frustrated with the results that you're getting. What I would recommend is getting out an old school pen and paper and going onto your website and looking at all of the different things on your website that might be something that we can actually target on Google. So if you're an organization that is dedicated to helping veterans, you know, in your keyword, in your AdWords campaign, you might be targeting how to help veterans, how to support veterans, and trying to come up with just different ways about veterans. Well, you could also say, and really just experiment on Google, like, okay, what about Veterans San Diego? What about people that want to support like a specific kind of veteran? How many different kinds of veterans are there, right? It's like maybe we want to call them, instead of veterans, how to support your troops. And really just experimenting with a ton of different ways to say the same thing. Because although your brain thinks a certain way, you know, other people's brains might think a little bit differently, but still want to spend time and devote and to donate and to fundraise for the cause that you really started here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you. All right, we've got about 4 minutes left here, so maybe time for just 1 or 2 more questions. But this one's for you, Chandler. What percentage of organizations are accepted for Google Ad Grant Pro?
Great question. So Google actually does not release those numbers, and so I can't give you a specific number on that. We have 100% approval rating for our Google Ad Grant Pro. We've helped about 8 organizations get through to it, and we haven't had an issue. But just to give you some context and a little bit of history here with the Google Ad Grant Pro program, a few years ago, Google actually took it away because they were having so many organizations come through on the regular Google grant. So they revoked that Google Grant Pro level, and they recently brought it back. And so we just know that Google, it says on the Google Ad Grant Pro essays and the application is that they reserve the right to limit this program, and you are not guaranteed approval. So we're just very aware of that, and we let everyone know that it's not guaranteed. But, you know, you can continue to apply as many times as you want until you can get in there. We're committed and we're persistent and we're excited about helping our organizations get to this level. So we recommend to continue applying until they either write you back about why you didn't get approved or they give you that pro level status. But you have to make sure that you hit your qualifications, right? So that's something else to know.
Thank you. Okay, well, we're going to hold true to the time here, and we're going to wrap things up now. I just want to say thank you, Cameron and Chandler, for joining us today. I hope that everyone feels empowered to go back and apply for a Google Ad Grant on their own. And like I said, we'll be sending out the webinar follow-up tomorrow with this recording, the slides, and that step-by-step video that the Community Boost team has put together for you guys. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and that you join us for another webinar here in the future. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.